Hills and Dales. That is today's Downtown Ford and Lincoln Community of the Day. If you're a member of our MVP Club, go to our website, whbc.com. Type in Hills and Dales as the Downtown Ford and Lincoln Community of the Day and win yourself those 2,500 bonus points. We do have Congresswoman Betty Sutton coming up a little bit later on our program, but right now we have Mr. Luis Lacourt, who's a guidance counselor at Jackson Middle School. He's also, we're going to talk about prostate cancer. And Luis, welcome to our program.
Thanks, Ron. How are you?
Good. Now, Luis emailed me, I guess, 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, something like that, because he wanted to talk about prostate cancer. There's a lot of issues that affect, health issues that affect men that we men really don't pay too much attention to. I'm sure you realize that, Luis.
Absolutely. Yep.
But prostate cancer is one that we better pay attention to. Why don't you tell us your story?
Well, it kind of began a number of years ago. My dad had prostate cancer, and my grandfather and my uncle also had prostate cancer.
Darn, man, that runs in your family.
Absolutely.
So too bad it didn't run right past you, though.
Didn't skip the generation. And so because it ran in the family, the chances were fairly high for me to also get prostate cancer. And so as a result, my dad kind of nagged me from the time I was 35.
Your dad's a physician too, right?
He's an oral surgeon, but he knew enough about medicine to sort of say, listen, you need to get checked. You need to get checked. And I was just like, okay, Dad, sure. And I was trying to drag my feet on it till finally I went to my family doctor and started getting some regular PSAs done. And they got some baseline scores for me.
PSA is protein-specific antigens, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of measures whether or not there's some sort of a reaction within the body trying to counteract the prostate cancer.
Right. And yours were elevated, correct?
Well, for a while, they were pretty stable. Mm-hmm. We had a good baseline score. And then about a year or so ago, this past April, got the last checkup, and they were about 80% higher than what they were about 3 years ago. And so from that, they said, hey, you need to get a biopsy done.
And you had the biopsy?
Yeah, at end of May, I had a biopsy done.
And it was conclusive that it was cancerous?
It sure was.
Okay, now you're going to be undergoing surgery here soon, right?
Yeah, that's right, because I've got cancer right now. I haven't been through treatment. There are some options for treatment. We can do radiation, or we could do some sort of a surgical, to remove the entire prostate.
Now, the information that I've been reading lately indicates that sometimes it's not necessary to do surgery. That if the patient is old enough and the diagnosis is conclusive enough that sometimes simple treatments, and I say simple in a relative term,
sure,
radiation might suffice. In your case, that's not the case, though, right?
Well, the reality is that prostate cancer is a slow-growing cancer. So if you're above the age of 75 or 80 years old, there's a lot of question about what's the point of doing a real invasive surgery in order to remove a slow-growing cancer for a gentleman who may or may not have 5-10 years left to live. For someone like myself, I was 42 when I was diagnosed, just turned 43. I could pursue radiation treatment, but the chances of cancer returning after radiation treatment 10 to 15 years from now were pretty significant, particularly with my family history. So based on that, my doctor, my wife, and my dad all recommended, why don't we go ahead and just have it removed? And I thought, you know what? I'm not really excited about the surgery, but that's probably the best course of action for me right now.
Yeah, it would be kind of hard to get excited about that surgery, wouldn't it?
No, yeah, that's right.
Luis Lacourt. Now, Luis, you've done research on prostate cancer. What can you tell men out there who might be listening to help them deal with this issue? First of all, if they haven't been diagnosed, and secondly, if they have been diagnosed.
Well, I guess one of the big things is just don't put your head in the sand about it. 1 in 6 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer at some point in their lives. And so it's a significant thing that I want men to be aware of and have themselves checked out. Get your blood work checked. And it's no fun to get a digital rectal exam. Nobody wants to do that, but you got to get it done. I mean, it's just important to do. Between that statistic of 1 in 6 men get diagnosed in their lifetime, here's the other piece. 1 in 5 African-American gentlemen get diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. So it's more prevalent within the African-American community for men.
Does anybody know why?
I think the American Cancer Society suggests it has more to do with genetics, but the research is inconclusive from what they've said.
Mm. And do you have a son?
Yeah, I have 2 sons.
And have you caution them on how old are they?
One is 11, one's 14, so they're fairly young, and I'm not trying to scare them about it just quite yet. I just want them to know that what Dad's going through is perfectly treatable, and there's nothing to be scared of.
And is that the message that you give other folks too?
Well, absolutely. I mean, at this point, as I said to my kids, I'm more nervous about the treatment than I am about the cancer. I'm at a stage 1, possibly stage 2, because it is growing, and I'm more nervous about the treatment than I'm about the cancer, because the cancer can be removed. It can be treated and dealt with. I think part of the other reason I wanted to get this moved on is just to make sure that no cancer cells escape the prostate gland and that it doesn't spread throughout the body, because it is growing.
Right. Now, you'd mentioned that you'd been in touch with the Pro Football Hall of Fame and some other folks. There is a foundation, Know Your Stats Foundation.
Correct.
That's doing some things nationwide. Yeah. Do you know anything about that?
It's the NFL combined with the American Urological Society to create Know Your Stats. They're going to be in town to perform some inexpensive to free screenings as well as some educational materials. I don't know much about the date, location, but I know that's a service that they provide, and they're going to be in town. Michael Haynes is a very important advocate for that, and he's a spokesperson for them and does a real good job. Well,
I'll tell you what, when we find out more information about it, we'll let everybody know about it as well.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I think part of our responsibility here, not just because of we're males doing this show, but because we want our folks, our listeners, to know a lot about their health issues. So that's one reason we wanted you to come in, Luis. But also anything that we can do to help you in your battle personally against prostate cancer, or societally, we'd be more than happy to do that.
Well, thanks, Ron. One of the things I'm doing as well is I've spoken with Perry local schools, and we're making plans to possibly dedicate one of the high school football games on a Friday night to prostate cancer awareness. As you're aware, some basketball games are dedicated to breast cancer awareness, and they raise money and donate funds to those foundations. And I think it'd be phenomenal to dedicate a football game or some sort of another sporting event to raise awareness in our community, and I want to be instrumental in getting that started and getting it rolling, and they're very open about doing that.
That'd be real cool. Yeah. In fact, John Dietz, one of the members of the Board of Education over there, is a good friend of mine, and he knows, as you know, that if I could be helpful there, I'll do that.
Thanks.
Great. Luis Lacourt. Appreciate it, Luis, and good luck to you, my man.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate it.